If only his name wasn't kvaratskhelia. This video is by PedTalksFutbol. Like it, share it, enjoy it. Follow this guy. Real good.
Kvaratskhelia used to be just a skinny kid in Georgia who liked to watch apples grow. Now, he is PSG's newest superstar.
Back at him. Kvaratskhelia! Wow! Kvaratskhelia does not miss!
I'm not sure how I don't watch him week in week out, but it seemed in these games, Chelsea, Liverpool, PSG, Bayern, that he rarely miss. Maybe it's just his form now, but I mean, so far in the season, 53 games, somewhere there, 22 goals and 10 assists, is not this big of a deal, you know, but still, he doesn't seem to miss.
The reason they call this guy Kvaradona.
They call you Kvaradona, and every game you go on the pitch, you have to show them that you are really Kvaradona.
In his debut season for Napoli, he finished as the league's top assist provider, was named the Serie A MVP, and named as the Champions League Young Player of the Season. Thanks to those incredible performances, Napoli reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League for the first time ever, and won their first.
How old is he? "25. He's a year younger than me. Okay.
First Serie A title in 33 years. Even Napoli won a league title before Arsenal. There were many people who doubted him after Napoli's disastrous season in
The jobs are there in all of his videos.
2024. But he has rejuvenated his career at PSG. He's a big game merchant. Anytime he plays under the bright lights of the Champions League, he shines.
Being forgotten, now there's real pressure, and Kvaratskhelia's in!
Like, if you look at his stats in the league, in Liga, they're not that impressive. But when the business end of the Champions League rolls around, this guy just starts cooking. Despite joining the Parisiens mid-season in 2025, he helped them win their first ever Champions League title, really stepping up in the knockout matches. I mean, you guys remember this goal versus Aston Villa?
PSG powering forward, Kvaratskhelia, wonderful. That is unbelievable!
The final was against the spaghetti lover.
That was a close game with Aston Villa. I mean, was it a 4-3 win? I don't remember, but Aston Villa were fighting. And then PSG went on to win the whole thing. And all them titles.
Was Inter Milan. And PSG dominated the game. I mean, they bent these guys over and spanked them 5-0, which became the biggest win ever in a Champions League final. Kvaratskhelia was dangerous the whole game. And then, in the 73rd minute, he got his goal.
Now they come once more, and Dembele's got Kvaratskhelia in, and he's bearing down on goal, and it's 4-0. Far from Georgia scores a goal, and Paris Saint-Germain are romping to a Champions League win in Munich.
When he initially joined the club, getting used to that fluid front three was a bit of an adjustment. For most of his career, he played almost entirely on the left, but at PSG, he was used on both sides, with Ousmane Dembele moving into a central role, and Bradley Barcola and Doué also playing off of the left. Even then, once the game starts, everybody's rotating, everybody's switching positions on the fly. Whoever's on the left might end up on the right. Whoever's on the right might end up in the middle. Kvaratskhelia adapted well to that. He scored against Brest and Monaco, and he provided assists against Reims and Lyon. More importantly, he seemed comfortable sharing the responsibility in PSG's attack. That was a big change from his time at Napoli, where there was a lot of pressure on him to constantly deliver. Because as good as Victor Osimhen was, he was a finisher. The creativity burden fell always on the shoulders of Kvara. Still, pressure never really seemed to affect him. He played with freedom and confidence, and even took on Mbappe's old number 7 shirt without hesitation. In fact, that clip
I never thought about that. But yeah, he's right. The number 7, still big deal.
Of Kvara taking the ball off of Mbappe at the Club World Cup was symbolic. The new PSG number 7 taking the ball off the old number 7 who refused to track back to defend. The new era of PSG had arrived without the dictator. Statistically, he stood out from the start. He averaged the most completed through balls per game at 1.04. He also led the team in shot creating actions with 6.57 per game, which was slightly ahead of Dembele's 6.22. On top of that, he had the most take-ons at 3.13 per match, more than Doué and Dembele. He also drew the most fouls, averaging 2.02 per 90 minutes. Once again, just ahead of Desiree Doué. And then when it came to goal creating actions, he was second with 1.04 per game, only behind Desiree Doué. The second half of the 2024-2025 season ended up being one of the best runs in French football history. With kvaratskhelia playing a key role in the attack, PSG went on to win everything. They completed a historic treble. The guy joined in January, playing 14 matches, scoring 4 goals and getting 3 assists. He added so much speed and unpredictability to the attack, which helped PSG break down those deep defensive blocks. He scored his first goal for PSG in a 4-1 win against Monaco, and he just kept scoring. He took that momentum into the next season as well, especially in the Champions League. His numbers in the 2025-2026 season have been incredible. I told you guys he performs the best under the brightest of lights. Against Chelsea in the round of 16, in just 28 minutes, he completely changed the game, scoring twice and getting an assist to help PSG win 5-2. Literally nobody on Chelsea could defend him. Then in the second leg at Stamford Bridge, he scored again as PSG won 3-0 and comfortably went through. In the quarterfinals against Liverpool, he scored an unreal solo goal.
kvaratskhelia, and there is a space. Kvara going beyond the goalkeeper. 2-0.
Liverpool just couldn't deal with him. PSG won that game 2-0 and went through 4-0 on aggregate. I guess none of the best teams from the best league could handle the Farmers.
The League of Farmers, no, we are the League of Farmers.
Then came the semi-final against Bayern Munich, and what a game that was. PSG won 5-4 in a match that became the highest scoring semi-final in Champions League history. Kvaratskhelia scored a brace and the game was just a joy to watch. I realized that football is still beautiful, I just have to stop watching Arsenal play. That brace put him among the top
Too many jobs, bro.
Top scores PSG have ever had in a single Champions League campaign. It's crazy how good he has become because when Napoli signed him in 2022, for the rest of the footballing world, for the majority of people, he was still a relatively unknown name. But the Italian club knew he had potential. You see, as early as 2018, when he was playing for Rustavi, he was the subject of interest from Europe's top clubs. Bayern were interested in him, and even had Kvara in attendance during their 0-0 match against Sevilla in the Champions League quarterfinal. Statistically, Kvara only had scored 3 goals across 18 appearances for Rustavi, but he was so good off the eye test that the Guardian still named him among the best 60 young players worldwide. With there being some buzz around his name, he joined Lokomotiv Moscow on loan in February of 2019. It was time for him to show his abilities in Putin's country. He ended up only making 7 appearances and scored only 1 goal against Rubin Kazan. But in those handful of games, he had played so well that the Lokomotiv Moscow manager Yuri Sermin was very disappointed that the club could not agree on a permanent transfer. And he was right to be upset because Kvara ended up joining Rubin Kazan in July of 2019. His first game for his new club was against his previous club, Lokomotiv Moscow. He came on as a sub in the second half and scored the equalizer in a 1-1 draw. He was named the best player of the match by Rubin fans on the official site of the club. This was only the beginning. The Georgian's market value 5x from June of 2019 to June of 2020. He won 4 Player of the Months in the 2020-2021 season. In early 2021, L'Equipe published a list of the 50 best players born in the 21st century, and Kvara was the only Russian league player to be included. It was all going so well, but then everything changed. On the 7th of March 2022, FIFA announced that due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, foreign players in Russia could unilaterally suspend their contracts until the 30th of June, and were allowed to sign with clubs outside of Russia. Kvara ended up doing just that, and going back to Georgia to play for Dinamo Bastuni. Of course, at that point, it was clear that he was too good for the Georgian league, scoring 8 times and getting 2 assists in just 11 league matches. Other clubs, however, had Kvara on their radar. After all, this guy was listed on multiple occasions as a player to watch. The only reason he was back in Georgia was because of an international conflict, not because of his ability. Napoli was the team willing to invest and take the gamble. They signed for a fee reportedly between 10 to 12 million euros. Now, I said gamble earlier because at the time, people still didn't really know how good Kvara could become. Across 4 seasons in the Russian league, he only got 10 goals and 10 assists. It was actually a period in his career that seems average now, considering what he has achieved. But right away, Kvara showed that he was worth the investment. In his first match day of Serie A against Hellas Verona, he scored and assisted in a 5-2 win. The following match day, he scored twice against Monza. He became the first player in Napoli history to score 3 goals in his first opening 2 league matches. To wrap up a great month, he was named the Serie A Player of the Month for August. His domination continued on to the Champions League, with him getting his first goal in the competition in a 6-1 away win over Ajax. In the return leg a week later, he got a goal and assist as well, being named the man of the match. You genuinely couldn't have drawn up a better debut season. With 3 goals and an assist during the month of February 2023, Kvaratskhelia was named the Serie A Player of the Month for a second time, becoming the first player to win the award multiple times in the same season. He ended that Serie A campaign with 12 goals and 10 assists, becoming the league's top assist provider. His contributions were so important in Napoli securing their first Serie A title in 33 years. In fact, that's why he won the Serie A Most Valuable Player award, as well as the Champions League Young Player of the Season. The thing with Kvara too is that it's not about the stats. When you just watch him play, he's one of those unforgettable players.
If only his name wasn't Kvaratskhelia.
The ball is stuck to his feet like they are glue. He easily beats his man. He's rapid and has that superstar quality of making something out of nothing. Basically the complete opposite of Alejandro Garnacho. You want to see his qualities in action? Watch this goal he scored against Atalanta that not only won Serie A Goal of the Month, but Goal of the Season. You begin to understand why he was given the nickname Cavaradona, because some of these runs are truly Maradona-esque. While the 2023 season was a dream, the 2024 season was very different. With Spalletti gone, a managerial carousel began, with different managers coming and going, and none of them being a good coach. The team began to underperform. Kvara still got 11 goals and 9 assists, which is impressive given how there was no consistency in the team at all. But Napoli finished 10th that season, putting on one of the worst title defenses in Serie A history. Kvara still had his moments of brilliance, like his 2 goals and assists against Sassuolo, as well as his brace against Hellas Verona. But nobody's gonna praise you when your team is mid-table after having just been champions the year before. Fortunately for the Georgian, the move to PSG elevated him back into the conversation of being the best winger in the world. Under Luis Enrique, Kvara is performing well again, and his team is actually winning football matches. He has Kvara rotating in the front 3 rather than just sticking to the left wing, and it's getting the best out of the Georgian. His connection with Barcola and Dembele and Doué was immediate, and his creativity has been essential to PSG's success. He can exploit wide areas, can cut inside to create, he can create for others or finish the play himself. He's also a threat both with and without the ball as he makes runs into the spaces. We are looking at a superstar. If PSG continue winning games and lifting silverware, there is a real possibility that Kvaratskhelia would lift the Ballon d'Or. This is a player that can influence games on his own, easily one of the very best players in the world, and
looking at things now, there is no clear best player in the world for sure. Still, it's unfortunate some things around Kvara. Like, he doesn't play for a country that can win major trophy. If only he played for Spain, Argentina, Brazil, France, England, something. But of course, Germany, no offense to Georgia, just that, of course, he can still deliver, but also, not only this, the stats are not this big yet. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Breath of fresh air from a winger. I mean, imagine watching Premier League wingers and then watching Kvara. Night and day. He's not afraid to take on his man. He's tenacious. As he adds more goals and assists to his name, we will start to see him be talked about even by people who don't watch French football. The good thing is he has a very good team around him. To see how this PSG team went from being a joke to dominating every single team in their path, you have to watch this video right here. Kvaratskhelia.
Watch it. Watch his videos. Now, I'd like to see Kvara winning personal, individual trophies. Still, he's just starting, so I'm gonna keep an eye on him. Kvara plays football. That's all I care about. We'll see the final.